Now boarding solo flight with Nicole Anderson. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Solo Flight Podcast. I am so excited about this episode, mostly because it is just so funny. Whenever you put Ava and I together, it's always a riot. And as much as I tried to really keep it together and be in host mode and ask her about practical life tips and advice, my friends just really like to dog on me, and I don't mind it. Like, I like when they make fun of me. I think it's fun. It's also part of our sense of humor. In this episode, you guys will get a glimpse of how ridiculous our friendship is like and a glimpse into our humor. But if you guys are also curious about how she juggles being a mom to a toddler on top of running a company, on top of building a house, and at the time when we recorded this, she was also planning her wedding. I don't know how any of my friends do it, guys. Most of the time, it's always me asking them how they do it because I always feel like at the end of the day, I hit the ground with nothing left in me. And yet here they are running multinational corporations, and I'm just, trying to keep up. Anyway, it's going to be a fun episode, but before you get into it, make sure you guys hit that follow button here on Spotify. If you guys are listening on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. And without further ado, here we go. Here's my episode with Ava.
Hey guys, welcome back to the pod. I'm so nervous/excited for this next guest because one, she is a podcaster herself. So I feel like there's going to be a little bit of judgment. Am I doing things right? But feel free
Mali
to
yan,
correct
Nicole.
me.
Mali yan.
Mali.
Just
Ito na. Okay, ayusin ko.
super feeling.
Basically, our next guest is the co-founder of Jellytime and also one of two hosts of this Sexytime podcast. Guys, if you have not heard of her podcast, check it out because it's a lot of things I don't have the guts to talk about, but she will get into that. It's a great podcast, a great listen. And also I have some episodes on there too that you guys can check out. I'll try to find a link if I can. I don't know how this works, but I'll try to find a link and I'll put it here somewhere or on my socials. And also Ava is a mom of, how old is Leo now?
He's turning 2 next month.
Okay, so a mom of an almost 2-year-old. And Ava has been a really long time friend of mine. So how long have we been friends?
You were like, I knew you when you were like 13, when you were like on SOP Gigsters.
Yeah.
That's my earliest memory of you, Nick.
You always bring that up because I'm
I
like,
know.
we're actually friends. Why do you know me from TV? Like, you don't know me from your living room.
I just remember you like dancing on TV. I'm like, who's that girl?
Clearly, my dance moves really left an impression on you.
Until now. Nick, I am so proud of you. And I want to strangle you. Why did it take you this long to start a podcast? From all my friends, you have all the criteria to start a podcast aside from a very good voice. You can talk about things nonstop. You can literally talk to a wall for like an hour and you wouldn't run out of things to talk about, honestly.
Wait lang. Speaking of which, I have this heart monitor on my wrist, and I went to Jess and Moritz the other day for Moritz to calibrate the ECG or blood pressure thing. And it says here, you're not allowed to. It's so random, right?
Yeah, random
That's
activity.
very me. I asked them for him to calibrate it. You're not allowed to talk or move for parang 1 or 2 minutes. And so I was quiet like that. No, I was quiet lang. And Jess kept talking to me, like asking me 3 questions. And I'm looking at her, pointing at the watch, like, I can't answer you. And she goes, yeah. And she goes, Nicole, this is so weird. I've never been around you in the 15 years we've been friends. You've never been quiet. And it's really stressing me out.
No, awkward siya in her own house.
I know.
No, it's true,
I
Nick.
don't know how I feel about
Now that I
that.
think about it, if I had to go in an awkward anything, I'd probably bring you along. I can throw you there.
I
Okay
know.
na, bahala na. Bahala ka na. So yeah, I'm really
Wait, that's
happy you
always
decided to
me.
start this podcast. I know you.
But can
don't
I be
pretend.
honest?
Sana.
Can I be honest? It's because, sana naman, konting honesty naman sana. I think it took me so long because I really am scared. I don't know why.
What are
because
you
it's such
afraid
a
of?
It's such a new, eto, therapy na pala.
Tell me about it. Sit down. What is it? What are your
About
traumas?
your fears. No, I think I'm really, really scared about this because it's such a new medium for me. And I've
Yeah.
never had, aside from guesting on all of my friends, including your podcast,
Yeah.
I've never done this before. Yeah, kaya ko live. Kaya ko hosting events. Kaya ko TV. Kaya ko... I also did radio before. But
Yeah.
I don't know why
Even
this
your
is so
vlogs.
scary.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'd say like I guess this is the first type of medium where you just have to candidly be yourself, and but I mean, you do your lives and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But all of that, you kind of like, how do you say? You kind of also know what you're going to be saying. Like these interviews are kind of just like let it go. Whatever's gonna happen happens.
Yeah.
But you know why it's really cool because you have a really good following. At least with your audience, they really follow and listen to you. So I feel like it's a chance for them to finally see who you really are outside of all your other IG posts and stuff like that. I
Aside
think.
from work. I think yun eh. I think it's also peeling a layer back because
Yeah.
when I'm hosting live or when I'm hosting events, trabaho siya for a client.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's not really me and our friendships and, you know, our experiences and our relationships. Like, I also don't talk about my dating life on my vlog. So this is going to
Boo!
be very
That's my
raw.
favorite topic about you na pa naman.
Every time we see
Alam
each
na
other, she's
natin.
like, ano na?
Your first listeners, we know who they're gonna be. Just kidding.
I'm afraid. I'm gonna block them. Like, I'm gonna find their IPN and block their account so that they can't listen to this.
Girl,
But
they'll
there is
create
gonna
new
be
ones.
laglagan. Okay, wait.
Thank God.
So as much as I want it, and let's keep it as light and kenkoy as we are, because that's really who we are. I think people don't realize also how fun and funny you are. And you show that on your podcast too. And I think that's why we're friends, because out of our whole group, tayo yung pinaka-kalog.
Yeah.
Would you say or no?
I think so. But you know what? It's so funny you say that because I actually feel that I'm not able to, at least in the beginning of the podcast, I felt so afraid because I wasn't supposed to be part of the podcast. It was really about all my
Ano
sister.
ba?
No. I wasn't
Okay.
going to be there. I was just telling her, okay, you should start the podcast. She wanted to do it. She was like, Abs, it's not going to be the same if you're not there. I'm like, I'm so afraid. I don't like going in front of the camera. I actually don't like speaking publicly. That's why I think the hosting that you do is the most, I'm like in awe of you for doing that. But it's funny that you say that because I think as I started recording episodes and realized people don't care as much as you think. I was able to just like, you know what? Let me let loose. As long as I don't say anything that my mother-in-law will be like, Ava, what the hell is wrong with you? Especially because the podcast is about sex, right?
Girl, the things you already talk about, I'm shooketh. So, what more?
Girl, that's
What's your
a regular day at
limit?
work. That's a regular day at work for me.
You're like, so, talk to me about the genitalia of the... Ay, di ko kaya talaga. Anyway.
Yun na yung word mo na parang nakakaloka genitalia. Like, hello. Comes
Oh my God.
is used every day.
Uy, iba yun. I'm
work.
gonna...
You can bleep
I
that.
don't know if I can put that on here. Baka maloka yung
Bleep mo
mga
na yan.
ads. Bleep
Wait.
ko siya.
Nick, but I totally agree. I think that's the reason why we also super get along. Because, well, aside from, I feel like you're also the youngest one in the group, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
you're
I think you are, but we're the
Yeah, I
closest
mean,
in
like-
age also. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for what advice you're gonna give your audience because ang dami mong masabi and you ask me, so I just need to tell people, Nick, I always get the most random messages from Nick. Like I'll wake up one morning and I'll be like, Nick's like, Ava, do you process your SSS for your helpers? Or do you do, I'm like, the most random texts that I'm like, you know what? It's actually really important that people ask me that. People know that, but no one knows where to ask that. But Nick is
No,
the person.
exactly. That's why I created this also, because I'm like, I can't be the only one like trying to figure this stuff out. And I don't have, like I always say, well, I don't know if I say this online, but like I mentioned this, I think maybe once or twice on the vlog, that you guys kasi are my village. Your family, you have your own village because there's like 100 of you. But me, as an only child growing up, I don't have that village. So my village is you guys, my barkada, my friends.
Yeah.
And so literally, you and Jess always make fun of me for being like, Nicole, my first message from you will be like, what concealer are you using today? And then the next day you'll be like, how do you process the SSS? And then the next day will be like,
Super
what's your take
random.
on this? What's your take on this article? And they're like, girl, your questions have no niche. Like,
You're
it's
the only friend I
everything.
get messages like that from. That's why I'm like, she's special. I love her.
I don't know if that's a good thing or like if I'm naliligaw
Let's keep
bata.
it general, special.
Yeah. Wait, so I want to ask you also things that, because I also get a lot of questions and DMs from my followers who ask me also weird random questions. Like a lot of them have to do with life advice, but a lot of them have to do with being this quote unquote strong, independent female that I've had to be my whole life. But people don't realize that I look to you guys for advice and on how you guys also navigate your lives. And on your plate right now, you're a mom first and foremost. And then on top of that, you're running a household. And then you have a podcast that you do. Is it weekly?
Yeah, well, we try.
Weekly,
My sister and I.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then you have a podcast that you do weekly. And then you also are running a company that you co-founded from nothing. Like you just made this up in your head. And now you're running this company. First of all, how do you do it all? Like, how do you stay sane and then do all of that and juggle all of that?
Today is just so appropriate for you to ask me that question because last night I literally turned my phone off at 8 p.m. and I texted my mom. Everyone who's texting me like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna just go on a hiatus. I'm gonna turn off my phone. For one, I didn't realize how much I was signing up for when I was doing it because at that time I was just like, well, to start with Jellytime, it was the pandemic, and I've been working in corporate real estate for 8 years. Super random, but I love
it's
it.
so
And
not connected to what you were doing.
no, I mean, and this is something that's really nice to talk about actually, because 10 years ago, when I was still trying to figure out what am I going to start doing, I was going to my cousins, I was going to George, I was going to Martine, and they had started Sunnies at that time. And I was like, guys, like, how do you know what you want to be doing? Because I'm like, no one really prepared me after college. Like, what am I supposed to do? I know that I'm a people person, but I don't know what are my skills. I wasn't sure what my skills were, if what I wanted to focus on. So for some reason, I don't know if it's just me, but I didn't feel college really prepared me for that.
Me neither. Why do you think I'm texting you all these things?
Right?
I don't
I'm like,
feel very well equipped.
yeah, you graduate and you're like, okay, what next? And that's what I was feeling for a while. And I was seeing my cousin, my older cousins, my sister, everyone was around me doing so much, and I'm like, wait, I don't want to be left behind. And that's a feeling that I really sat with, and I'm like, I need to do something about it. And then I got together with Luch, my husband now, and at that time I didn't meet yet his family, and his sister told me like, before you meet my mom, I think you should get a job. And I was like, huh?
Wait, ganun yung warning?
Yeah. That was this warning. And I'm in my head, I'm like, I don't even really like your brother that much yet. But in my head, I'm like, okay, maybe I might as well.
Wait,
I mean,
I'm
alam mo
feeling
naman
mo.
I like him.
I don't even...
He was chasing me
You think I like him enough to get
to work.
to work? Okay. And then...
No, at that time, because I don't know if you remember, but I had a small like sandwich business called Bagitini, which was like do you remember that?
Right.
I had a,
about that.
it was my thesis that extended after college. I continued to do it. But at the time, I didn't know that you had to set aside your profit to put back in the company. I was using it left and right. So I had no training in that sense, right? But I've
Wait,
always...
what did you do with your profit? Like pinang
Girl, I would go to the mall. I'm like, okay, I sold that 4-cheese sandwich. Ito na. Ganon.
Okay.
Malay ko ba?
You know,
No one really...
wala
no
naman
one tells you
nagtuturo
that.
nun. Totoo.
At that time,
okay.
wala namang entrepreneur sa family ko. Like, everyone's just like, So, akala ko okay na ako. But then I realized, like, wait, I can't afford to buy myself a plane ticket. Like the big ticket items. I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't enough. So, yun nga. I decided to start working in a corporate, in a company as an admin assistant. And I was like, I actually feel that I'm really good with organizing, paperwork, all of that. Fast forward, I was like, with the time that I was working in that company, and then I realized like I hate my bosses. I don't want to be working for someone who I don't look up to and respect. And then
Pangalan na natin. I'm just Just kidding.
No, by the way, it's not you, Lawrence. Lawrence, I loved you. You were my boss. He was my
Uy,
direct boss.
grabe, sino yan?
You know Lawrence, Manalang.
Oh my God, Lo! I love Lo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lo was my direct boss, but the people around him were just really, really like toxic. So, and I hated it. So I found an opportunity presented itself to work in real estate. And at that time, Luch was already, I could already meet his mom because my job na.
May
He
job
told me,
na.
he told me na parang, you know what, you should try to get into real estate because parang his explanation was like everywhere you go is real estate. Like you'll never lose opportunities if you get into real estate because you can get into anything.
That's
And I was
true.
like, at the time I didn't even know how big a square meter was, but I did it, and like
How
everything I
big
do.
ba? I know, ayan, that's my next
Ganito ba?
question to you. How big
Paano
ba?
ba yun? Ano ba?
Okay.
No, really, I didn't know. So I was in the meeting and I couldn't even I'm like, what is a square meter? Anyway, the point of my story was, so I started working for that company, and then I realized like, you know, I was loving it so much, and then the pandemic happened. So this was already 6 years into the company. Pandemic happened, and there's no real estate activity going on. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like what's gonna happen? And then it just so happened that I was having dinner with my sister and Martine in Bel Air at that time, and I had told them that parang, guys, have you ever tried lube? And they're like, what? Why would you need lube? Martine actually was like, yeah, of course.
So
But
random, yeah.
I know.
Okay.
My sister was like, no, I've never tried it. Why would you need that? And then I was like, can you just try it? You don't know, like until you try it. And she was like, no, I'm not. So I just slipped
Wait,
it
why
into her
did you
bag.
even think of that? Like, why is
Oh,
that?
randomly.
Like, that is not something I would ever ask you guys. So why is that even a topic?
No, I'm really that type of person. Like I'm more
You
adventurous
always
when
have
it comes
been.
to those type of things. Yeah. So like amongst my friends, I'm always like, so what happened with you guys? I want to know the details, everything. So
Yeah.
I've always been that type of person in the group. And so
Wait,
when I made
can I just say backstory? When we would hang out and we're like what 15 at the time, and you would make me cuento about like your, let's say, excursions with
excursion,
guys you were
escapades.
mas politically correct. Ikaw na lang yung ako na lang yung what's it called? Censored. And then ikaw yung
Censored
hindi.
version. Okay, go.
Anyway, you tell me about your escapades. and I would just be so shook at we're brushing our teeth or kumakain tayo ng
Casual.
pakwan, and then you're like, oh, so alam mo ganito, and then very visual, very detailed.
Siyempre, kailangan you
What
can
am I
picture
just
it, ano
doing?
ba?
I know, and then naloloka. So,
You know, Nick. I'll go.
no, so actually, now that I think about it, you asking that question
Makes
at
sense.
makes sense when you were with them. Okay, so
Side note, actually, when I look at you, if I didn't know you, you look like the type who would be like adventurous like that. That's why it comes as a big shock when people meet you and they're like, she's
I know.
not like actually. Anyway.
it's the most. It's
which is a
always the
plus.
ones you think. It's always the ones you think who are
Yeah.
everyone who approaches me, or even guys I've dated. Well, all two of them. Just kidding. Even
Oh.
guys, all bleep of them. They're always surprised. They're like, you. Before I met you, I thought you were such a party girl and that you were super wild.
Yeah.
And then they meet me and I'm like this super conservative person. And they're like, there's such a disconnect with how you look versus how
Yeah.
you really are. Ano ba? So
My
I just look
God,
so
tama.
slutty.
You look slutty kasi. Ikaw naman, change nga how you look. Lokang.
Ano ba dapat suot ko? Mali pala. Okay. So anyway, so you asked them about
So then
the
I
dude.
asked them about it over the dinner table. And then parang 2 weeks later, my sister comes back. She's like, uy, where do I get more of that ano? She was shy pa to say it.
Kunwari
I'm like,
pa.
what? And she was like, that ano? I'm like,
That
the
ano?
what? Yung ano? I'm like, the lubricant. And she's
Yeah.
like, so she was saying like, it's actually amazing. I didn't think anyone like my age would need it. And she was like, is there anything that's healthy for you? Because obviously it's an internal device. So I was like, actually, I don't know what's in the market. And from there, we were like, you know what? We should start something. We should start something that's healthy for people. And it was a long discussion of like, actually, there's nothing in the market that I feel comfortable buying. And there's no one I can even talk to about it. And so then we came about. First we thought Sexytime jelly. That's the name Martine came up with. And then after that, she was like, no, let's just change it to Jellytime, which is actually super cute because it really like is catchy when you hear it,
Yeah.
right? And then after that, we were like, how are we going to market something like that? It's just so like, how do you talk about it? And
yeah,
then
especially in a country that is so conservative.
yeah, really. Just so happened like my family isn't as conservative, but everyone else around me, I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, that's not normal. So
Yeah.
my sister was like, you know what, let's start with a podcast and see how people react to that. True enough,
Oh,
when
so
we
the
did it,
podcast started before I can't
yeah,
remember
yeah,
anymore.
yeah, yeah. So it was the podcast first in 2021 during the pandemic pa, and then 2022 came Jellytime, and it was great because it was our gauge to see like if people were gonna like react to us violently about it. It was
Yeah.
just so such a big jump. I remember the night before we were gonna release our first episode, I was praying to God. I said, please don't let this backfire. Like, you know
Yeah.
what our intention is, blah blah blah. And then the next day we released the episode with my mom, and
Yeah.
obviously it's such a weird guest
I
to
remember
start
that.
with.
I remember that
Yeah, so
episode.
so yeah. Anyway, it all kind of fell into place, and I kind of took a step back with my real estate work because I really, as I started getting into it, I realized, you know what, it's not just about the business. I was
Mm.
thinking like if we're able to just help people in a way that people who are uneducated about sex can learn na parang if you use a condom, this can prevent a life-changing disease. Like imagine how much change we've done in this world. And we laugh about it a
Oh,
lot about like
wait,
condoms,
that's
toys, and all of
true.
that. But like it's amazing what you could
It's
do.
actually health and wellness.
100%. It's sexual health.
Yeah.
And every day I learn new things about like how we could potentially help the world, not just the Philippines, because there's so many crazy statistics that we've learned. Okay, I'll get into that after, but basically, like it made me realize the purpose of why I'm doing what I'm doing. At the same time, we launched Jellytime. I gave birth to Leo, so parang everything just became that much more meaningful to me. Na parang I'm not
Yeah.
just doing this by myself. Like I always try to get home by 5 so I can be with Leo, you know.
Yeah.
But I also want to make sure that everything I do for work is done and like I can go home
Okay, so
have peace of mind.
that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about, right? Whenever I'm around you, you're so happy and positive, and even when things are burning around you, you tell me and you're laughing. And I'm just like, how are you like that? Like literally you'll be like, "Oh my god, girl, oh my god, girl, na-cancel yung ganito." Tapos nawala yung ganito, and then Leo is sick pa. And then and then hindi pa nagbabayad yung ganitong client. And then you're like, "Ha ha ha." And I'm like, "What do you mean, ha
Coping
ha?"
mechanism.
I would be in shambles crying on the ground, and you're just like, ha. Like, how do you do that? Is it something you tell yourself, I have to stay positive, or it's just, does it come naturally to you? Like, what is
I
it?
actually, that's so cute. I love that you recognize that. I really feel like it comes naturally to me because I'm the type of person like, unless someone's dying, nothing is so bad. Like, nothing is so
Yeah.
bad. Like, with this visa thing for my wedding, for example, like, all the yayas
Yeah.
got rejected. And of course, like,
Oh
it's
my
not gonna,
God. Isa pa yan. Like, your wedding has been canceled how many times?
I
Na-move
know.
na.
I'm
And
like,
you're just
okay,
like, haha, I moved my wedding next year na. And
no, I'm
I'm like,
like, gives me more time to diet. Okay, okay na yun.
okay.
But
But
I've
what
always
is
been
it?
that type of person with my family because I don't know if it's because I'm the youngest. So parang in my family, I'm the one kind of mediating between when my sister and my mom fight, my brother and my
Mm.
sister fight. I had to find a way to be resilient about these things. Or if I let it get to me, ewan ko na lang, I'll really just like be depressed. But
Yeah.
I think it's I do you believe, well, you wouldn't, you're an only child, but I feel like the position of where you're born into really shapes the way you interact with people.
I think, well, I'm an only child with my parents, but I am the ate of the crew, right? The crew,
You are the ate, seriously.
the Anderson crew. I am the eldest daughter. I don't know, what do you call us? A siblings pala. We're siblings. Bakit kami naging dance group?
Yung katropa mo.
My homies. No,
Yeah.
I am the ate. So I definitely feel there is a lot of responsibility, especially now that the next one after me, she is now nagdadalaga. So she's
Wait,
going
who's
through
that?
my
Your
sister.
sister half. I
My
can't
sister.
believe you have a
My
half
half-sister.
sister.
Yeah,
I'm
girl,
like,
revelation. What do you know? I
I
tell you this
can.
all the time.
I know, but I still can't believe it that you do. I'm like, no, it can't be. Really? How old
Yeah.
is she?
I have 3 siblings. So apat kami.
Okay, so
So I
are you
have
close to them or no?
I am. I talk to them all the time. And eto na nga. So she's coming to me for advice, right? Like tumatawag na, nagsusumbong, pag may mga issues, tas ngayon may boyfriend na. And I'm like,
OMG.
oh Lord, like what advice do I give you? Like
Like, you'd be so good, actually. You have pretty good advice when I ask you advice.
actually, good naman yung, so far, nami-mediate ko naman. Okay naman yung
Yeah.
guidance na nabibigay ko.
Parang realistic, pero ano.
Oo, pero fun pa
you
rin.
understand. Yeah, fun pa rin.
But anyway, let's bring it back to you. Like, what are actionable steps that you take? You mentioned kanina that you turn off your phone. Is that something you do every night, or is
No.
that just when you feel overwhelmed?
Yesterday was the first time I've done that. But actionable steps that I've done, I've been feeling overwhelmed a lot lately because of the wedding planning. We just finished our house build.
That's two more things. Exactly. So
Yeah.
you're running a company, you have a podcast, you're a mom, you're running a household, you're planning a wedding, and I forgot now. What's the other one?
We're finishing
you finish your
paying
house.
a house. Yeah, it's a lot actually, and sometimes I'm like, I didn't really realize that all of this was going to happen at the same time. But something my sister told me that has really worked for me, and this sounds really dumb, but like, she was like, you just need to sit down and meditate and manifest that everything is gonna come into play. Because at one point, I was like, how am I gonna pay for this, like this specific thing? And
That's me
things
all the
just
time.
fell into place. And I'm like, oh my God, the universe is working. And you know what I truly, truly believe in, and I always tell this to Luch, when you aren't afraid to give people who are helping, like when I say that, I mean like that who are asking for help, as small as people begging in the streets. Luch is always like, give them food, give them. I'm like, anything I can give to someone. For example, someone in the grocery was lacking money, and this isn't to brag, but I really, really feel that if you give to the universe, it gives back to you. Even if it's just a small amount, and you help someone, I'm telling you, Luch tells me that the universe always works to my advantage, because he sees that like I'm always creating that vacuum.
I really noticed that. You're like, oh, here. And then if someone's like, oh, cute your top, you'll like take it off and you're like, here, yours na lang. You will literally give the shirt off your back. Or you're like, oh, here na. I always notice, you always give the last piece of food.
So ako yung Pinoy piece, binibigay. No, I really feel that it's so nice to be able to give someone who needs it, especially. And it's like the feeling of them like, oh, thank you so much, is it feels so good. But I do think that karmic energy really, really is present, and it sounds
I really
weird and
believe that.
spiritual. Do you agree?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm as much of a giver as you, but I
Well,
definitely
Nick, you know what
believe that the
it
more you
also
give-
is? It's
What?
because I also had older siblings and cousins who would give me things. So parang with you, I also understand that you are such a survivor. You do everything for yourself. I'm just lucky that I was born, with 5 other older women who can hand me down things. So I think I've not gotten attached to things. Not that you are attached, but I think you work so much harder to get your things that it means so much more for you. So
It
it's
does
not,
mean,
it's not one or the other. It's just kind of like just the way we are.
the situations are different.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So I think I agree with that. And that's actually something I want to talk about too, because I call them mental health walks or sanity
You
walks.
do, yeah. I know, I'm with you.
We're on them. Yeah, we're on it together. Or if we do it with Silamond and everyone, then we call it chicardio, because it's chikahan
True,
and more
we
than
know.
cardio. But like I really noticed a big difference in our general disposition
From
throughout the
walking.
day. Yeah, walking.
Yeah. Why is it just like a new phenomenon? Like, why wasn't I walking before? I don't get it.
You know what I mean? Akala mo naman we're like reinventing the wheel. Like,
Yeah.
everyone walks. But why is it now everyone's on this walking trend? I don't know.
You know what? Maybe it's like the new generation, or like, you know how trends happen. Now it's like everyone's in their fitness era, and people are starting to realize that it's not actually. It's so much more fun to be healthy and fit. I don't know. Is it true? Because I was asking people in the office, but the younger generation, they don't party as much anymore. They don't drink as much alcohol anymore. So,
Yeah, you know us. We really don't.
wait, Tita Nicole. You really don't actually.
I know. Wait, this is. Can you tell them the advice you were giving me? Like, How
Oh,
how am I
wait.
gonna
So,
date?
okay. Wait. This is the pod. We had a recording with Nicole on the Sexy Time podcast yesterday, and to like summarize or to end the episode, Nicole's like, "Okay, guys, why don't you guys give me some advice on what to do as a single person and how to start, getting out there and start dating?" I'm
Yeah.
like, this is so funny because Jess and I were literally just laughing that in Siargao, they just came from the Sunny's summer club trip.
Yeah.
And Jess was like, yeah, it was so much fun. We were all at like this club and we were all like, it was all cute people. Everyone was there. And at 9
There
p.m.,
were
Nicole's
so
like,
many cute boys.
yeah. And then at 9 p.m., Nicole was like, I'm going to go book a massage. And then, do you want to come? And then Jess was like, aren't you the single one here in her head? I'm like, so Nicole, my advice to you is stop acting like you're in a couple and start partying. Be present in all these clubs. Stop going home at 9 p.m. for massages.
But how?
But
Like,
but
I'm just so
feeling ka,
tired.
you're part of the yung
Ayun nga eh.
taken crew.
Feeling ko I'm a mom of two. Like,
Yeah nga,
like guys, I need
sobra.
to be up and prepare
Pagod na
breakfast.
pagod na.
Here's my thing, and the reason why I keep asking you guys, how do you do it? Because pagod na ako. And
Yeah.
I have no, like, it's just me. How are you guys partying longer than me? Like, Jess was out, literally she was breastfeeding, like her baby was in the room. I went home at 9 p.m. to get a massage because I'm exhausted. And then Georgina, who has 3 kids, is like out partying, and then she wake up at 5 a.m. and run 10 kilometers. I'm like,
No.
how?
I feel like when you become a mom, you just have like this extra dose of like energy every single day that just happens because you need it. Really.
What,
It's
what do
I
you
used to
mean?
like parang it's just cuz like it's just I don't know, for me having Leo there even when I'm super tired, I'm like I know I have to do this. So I
Yeah.
just find the energy in me. So in short, use your eggs na. Just kidding.
Okay, if
Para
anyone wants
you can
to,
start partying.
okay, if anyone wants to donate their sperm, clearly the advice is, okay, use my egg. No, but I really should be going out. I'm just too tired. And one more thing, I just added now this podcast. How am
Oh
I
my
gonna have
god.
time?
Good luck. 8 p.m. you're gonna be like, guys, I need to go.
I
I'm too
know,
dead. No, you know
girl.
what, Nick? This is actually the perfect time for you because part of starting a podcast is you need to really expose yourself to different conversations so you have
Yeah,
new things to talk about. Like I like with a podcast, sometimes I'm like, I need to start reading different books. So I have other things to talk about because you end up talking about the same thing, if not.
yeah.
So this is your cue. If you're gonna start this podcast, you need to go to random places, talk to random people. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How?
Kaya,
Okay,
you're actually
practice,
so good
practice.
at that. You're so good in fake convos nga eh.
I'm
Fake
really
con-
machika, but I get
I know.
nervous if it's guys that I'm attracted to. I'm the you and you see. Have you seen it in action? Mike makes fun of me all the time. I think the last time Mike and I were out in a club was 12 years ago. But I talk such a big game. Oh my
Yeah.
God, manda siya sa akin when he walks in the room. I'm gonna talk to him. La 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 la. And then so my crush at that time walked into the room,
Who? Can you say
and then
who? Bleep mo na yan. Say it, say it.
his name's. He was a model at the time.
Wait, who is
I'll
he
send you a
like?
photo. I'll send you a
Okay, show
photo.
me later.
Anyway, he walks in the room and then Mike goes, "Oh, ayan na." And then he goes, he pushed me towards the guy, and then so I bumped the guy, and then I look at him and he goes, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And I was like, "Ha, ha." And then Mike is standing there like,
Feeling mo kasi
"What
you're...
the heck is that?" He was like, "That's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life." And then it just became a running joke. He's like, "Alam mo, puro talk ka. Pero pag nandyan na,
Like
tameme."
now that I think about it, I can't think of a time where you're like, I really, really like this guy. And so I can't even think
Yeah.
of a time when you're flirting, like when you're imagining you speechless. I can't believe that I can't think
I
of a
was so
time.
tameme. Yeah, well, maybe because you weren't there, but honestly, girl, oh my God. Okay, so last night, there was this guy at the gym. He's
Okay.
so cute. He was so cute. And
What
then,
gym? Which gym?
I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. I don't want to
Beep
say
mo na
it.
yan, beep mo na yan. Go.
Baka siya. I don't know his name.
Feeling lahat ng
But he
mga
was
guys
so
there like,
cute.
ako yun.
Ayan, siya yun.
Oo.
Ako yun. Pagpunta ko sa gym, lahat sila, what's it, winking at me na, taga-eyebrow raise na. Sup, girl? Anyway, he was so cute. Girl, wala. 1 hour ako nandun. Nakailang workout na ako. Like, kahit tapos na yung abs ko, nakailang paulit-ulit.
Baka naman
I wanna say hi. Hindi ko kaya.
You know what? Just suck it up. It's been super my dream. Like, it's a fantasy of mine, like a hot guy in the gym, and I'm like naka super sexy sports bra. And then parang he's running and I'm like, hey, you wanna go grab some lunch after? I just wanna be super confident.
I don't know. You know why? I don't know how guys do it. I get like it's so scary. Especially me. I look so bitchy pa. Alam mo yun, ang taray-taray na yung itsura ko. Like, so eto pa. This is another thing, girl. I look so stupid. And last night, because everyone says, Nicole, your RBF is so strong. You look so mean. You look so bitchy. So I was in the gym, girl. I was like smiling to myself. I was smiling, so I'm like, baka if he wants to talk to me.
You look like an idiot, smiling.
He's like, is she okay? Why is she smiling to the dumbbells? So in the end, walang nangyari.
Ang bobo mo. You get in your head.
Yeah.
No, you need a wing woman to help you. That's the best.
Oh, but you know what? I don't like not being this is my stubbornness. I hate when I know I can't do something. I'm literally gonna challenge myself. I need to get over this.
No, you need to go to him and just do it.
No, next time nga, I'm gonna.
You only live once.
I'll just be like,
are you done with this dumbbell?
Are you done with this dumbbell? Yeah. That's my. So I'm gonna practice.
And it's like a 40-pound dumbbell. You're like,
hindi ko mabuhat. Are you done? Tapos hindi ko pala mabuhat. Oh my gosh. But I really will. Kasi ayoko talaga.
I'm gonna really hold you to account to that. Kasi don't just say that for the podcast. Because I want to find out if you really will do that.
No, I can. Kasi I'm gonna make you kwento. No, I'll make you kwento. Okay, last week, I was in Lorene's bachelorette, right?
Oh.
And then...
Was there any, like, chismis that happened there? Anything fun?
Yeah, eto na nga, there was this cute guy at one of the clubs that we were at. And then siguro 1 hour, wala, like, hindi talaga, like, nothing, right? The guys weren't approaching us. And then, but when we were at the dance floor, he came up to me and then he started dancing with me and he was just like, hey, like, ganyan. So I was like, oh, hi. But again, I got torpe na naman. Like, I couldn't say anything. So I just kept dancing. Tapos also, Dua Lipa was blasting. So, alam mo yun, like, don't come between me and Dua. So, hindi rin kami magka-moment. So eventually, nung napagod na kami, we went to the table and then we're all drinking shots and drinking. And then he went alone to the bar. So we could see him alone, standing alone in the bar. And everyone was daring me. Kasi I think, in the group, ako na lang yung single.
So parang lahat...
So ako yung pinagtritripan, di ba? Kasi wala silang magawa lahat.
Buti na
so
lang.
They wanna live through me. Paano? Di ko kaya. Girl, when I tell you, my pits were sweating and like not sexy. I was so nervous, girl. They were all daring me. Go up to him. I'm like, I don't know what to say. Like, what do I say? And then they're like, here. And then who was it? I think it was Oyen or Nana. They're like, here's a shot. You have a shot and he has a shot and you give it to him and then you just like take the shot with him and then you start talking from there.
Yeah, that's a cute intro.
Girl, it took them like they had to egg me on for so long. Eventually, I was like, no. Alis na siya. And tas ayoko namang maging, alam mo yung, I didn't wanna be the KJ of the group na wala na nga, alam mo yun, like they're all natutuwa because eto na. So I'm like, sige na nga,
tapos you don't do anything.
I was like, sige, I'm gonna do it. So I like, girl, I had to hype myself up. But that walk from our table to the bar felt like 3 kilometers. I was just like, I can do this. And then when I get up to him, I tap him on the shoulder. He turns around. I wanted to run away, pero alam mo yung mukha ka ng tanga. So wala na ako magawa. I just handed him the shot and I was like, shot? That's all I said. Shot?
Nick!
Walang game! And then he takes it. And then after he takes it, I'm like, what do I say now?
No.
Goes, thanks. So then siya na yung he's like, oh, what's your name? Ganyan.
Thank God.
And then, but here's how bad I am. You know my memory is the worst, right?
Oh.
It's so bad. The next day, because he's so cute, and then like, wala, we had a moment, ganyan. Pero wala, he was leaving na rin he was moving back to Vietnam or something, or the next day. So
Oh.
never na ulit kami magkikita. Whatever. It's just a
I'm
fun
so
story.
sad.
But the next morning, I was just for fun, I was like, guys, sabi ko dun sa girls, girls, I miss Luke. Tapos lahat sila tumingin. Sino si Luke? I was like, yung guy, kagabi. And then they're like, Gaga, that's not his name. His name's Jake. And I was like, oh my God, who's Luke? They're like, we don't know who's Luke.
Bobo mo talaga.
I'm so bobo. So the whole night pala, I think I was calling him Luke. Jake pala pangalan niya.
No wonder he's probably like, what the this girl, she's so dumb. Wag na. Okay, I have advice for you for when you're in situations like that and you're scared to be the one to approach, because sometimes if you're not the type to like drown yourself with liquid courage or drink, right?
Yeah.
My experiment or my challenge for you is next time you find someone like that, try to really, really look him in the eye, do intense eye contact.
Girl, baka mata
while
ako,
drinking.
Strong na nga ng mata ko. Baka mamaya be like, is she
I'm telling you,
stroke?
try it. It's a really good technique you can do if you find a guy in a bar. You're like trying to get this eye contact. Siyempre, you have to be sexy when you're doing it.
Is she having a stroke? Why is she doing that? Is she okay? She's not blinking. She hasn't blinked.
It's like, her eyes are like super scary.
Kinukulam ba ako nito? Ano to pinainom niya sa akin? Bakit ganun siya makatitig?
Nick, basta alam na natin, in Italy, ganun na yung MO natin.
Well, anyway, that's not the pakay of the wedding naman. Okay, I'm just saying it's just funny stories na hindi ko kaya.
I'm telling you, do my technique. It's gonna work.
Okay.
That's how I got
time.
Luch. I'm telling you.
Okay, but first of all, step one, I need to go out.
Okay, yeah. You know what? That's the first step. I want to strangle you there because get out of your place.
That's gonna be what I'll do after Lorene's wedding, because her wedding is soon na naman. So I'll practice.
Practice. Meron bang mga single guys there? Baka naman, sana naman.
Hindi, kahit wala, I'll practice with my friends. I'll be like, guys, tama ba tong mata na to? Ganyan. Tama ba to?
You know what, Nick? Your face pa naman can be super sultry when you want it to be. Like your chin, tapos your lips. You just
girl,
like,
ano chin?
And then you use a straw and then just be like, and looking at them in the eye. Feeling ko kaya mo yan. Seriously, you'd be so good at it.
I don't know. I think I can only do it if I'm really comfortable. I think I can only get to that space when I'm comfortable with a partner. But, bahala na. I don't know.
Girl,
maybe
you're not gonna get there
because
four today.
Maybe
My
after
number.
4 or 5. I don't know.
We're gonna
Honestly,
get
2.
there.
Wait. Let's bring it back because this isn't about my dating life, but you guys always love to tease me about it.
It's my favorite topic.
I wanted to ask you also, how do you manage conversations? Like for me, I get so nervous talking about, even when I talk to you about your company or, what you guys talk about on the podcast, I use very different vocabulary than you're very direct, right? How do you navigate talking about difficult subjects like that in this country?
Okay. You mean like topics about sex like that?
Yeah.
I just learned it through time. Like in the beginning, I was like, how am I going to talk about this? But then once you get more comfortable in what you're doing, you start to realize what are your boundaries? What are the things that you're comfortable talking about? One of my boundaries for the podcast is I never talk in detail about anything Luch and I have done because that's something I respect. So you also have to be very clear with where you're at and who you are when you talk about these things. Especially for me, it's not as big of a deal as maybe for my sister, because my sister's more of a public figure. She can easily get canceled. You can say one joke, which, between us is funny and you don't really mean it, but can be taken out of context and really like destroy something you've been working on so long. But if you're clear about what you're okay with saying, even the way you phrase certain things, it just comes naturally.
You mentioned those boundaries, right? Because your topic and your company is, how do I say, very not controversial. It's taboo.
I would say
for some people.
It's controversial. Yeah.
How how do you define a line or a boundary when there are people who try to use your podcast or the company that you have? They make it weird in not just in our industry. I think in the world, there's always going to be
general.
sleazy people, right? Sleazy
Yeah.
men. And then they're always going to be like, oh, so you use this. So ganyan.
Yeah.
And then it becomes maniac-y.
Yeah. Like
How do you,
we've had that happen.
navigate that?
Online, I do get messages from guys like, how do you use this, Miss Av? And you can already tell when someone's like kind of perverted in the way they're asking things, and it's consistent. They're like, and then what do you do about this? And you can already like feel the energy. But in person was really shocking. One time we were at an OB-GYN convention, paha. So it was a medical convention. And one of my girls at Jellytime was there, and she told me, Ava, I was feeling a bit scared because there was this guy who came up to me and asking about our new male pleasure toy. So it's a toy for men. And he was holding the toy and he was rubbing it like, so paano to ginagamit? Saan nilalagay? And asking, like, really into it like that.
Niya,
And the girl
ganon.
was like, she was really starting to feel violated. But
Okay, so
thankfully,
what advice would you give for one, your employees, because they also have to deal with men like that, right? But also for all the listeners who constantly, even when we go out, even if it's not your job or your company, so you like the ball pen like that. Alam mo yung mga ganun, yung pati ball pen, ginagawa nilang weird. Like, what advice would you give?
And if they don't do anything explicitly vulgar, you don't want to be assuming, right? And then they'll be like, why? I didn't naman do anything for you, right? So like, for me, what I've told the people that work in Jellytime, like when they sign up, they know, I'll always tell them, you guys know this is a sexual wellness company. You will encounter situations where you're going to feel a bit uncomfortable. And they're all aware of that. But my advice to them when they came up to me in that event, I was like, you know what? Just avoid that guy. It's really going to happen, but you need to remove yourself from that situation and then have someone else handle it. For people who go out in bars, not just because I work in Storytime, but just as a girl in general, when I feel that perverted energy
that you use, or like how do you establish that boundary with people?
You know, I can clearly remember this because I felt that way with someone when I was out. And I remember you have to you if you're not comfortable to just be like, excuse me, this is making me feel really uncomfortable. Sometimes people aren't confrontational. I'm not that way. I have a hard time because I don't want to hurt people's feelings sometimes, even if they're already making weird advances.
So how would you say you joke?
I joke about it. I'll turn whatever they're saying into a joke and then slowly turn away. And then if they're persistent, and then I just like remove myself from that. I'm sure you get that a lot, Nick, because I feel like you're the type of person people would like to do that too.
Especially you look like people just want to be like, rah. No, it's true, because especially everyone assumes that when they look at me or how I guess how I dress or how I look, like they're like, party girl to, wild to.
You look inviting kasi. I told you it's the lips and your chin. It's very sultry.
No. Okay, so magmamask ako. Paglabas ko. Ito lang. Parang hindi sultry. No, but I get it all the time. And people are just weird.
What do you do then?
Sleazy. It depends. There are times when if I feel it's violating or I don't feel safe, I'll stand my ground. I said no or enough. I really say strongly. But
so you're that girl, the confrontational girl.
There are times I want to believe that I am that girl. And as much as I can, I try to be that girl. But there are moments when you just feel so caught off guard. I guess the word would be flabbergasted. It feels like my jaw is on the ground. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like a deer in the headlights where I'm just shocked and I freeze and I don't know what to do. So each situation is different. That's why I also ask you, because these are things that we are exposed to, not just because you have a sexual wellness company, but I think as women in general, being out you're always having to navigate weird people. I think it's good to have. Yeah, I like that you use humor. I think because not a lot of people can be very strong and confrontational.
Yeah, so it's a trait that I feel like, people who have that confrontational skill it's amazing. It's just hard for me to do. Even in the workplace, it's really hard. And if you're running a company, you need to be confrontational. So it's something I'm trying to work on. But I also think in situations like that, it really helps to just be around other women or like guys in general, because then you can come off as intimidating if you're like, sorry, what? You just like, you just come up with like,
wait, I like that. Sorry, what? I'm going to do that because it forces them to repeat themselves and gives them a second to either embarrass them, but also, or gives them an opportunity to either rephrase or change their approach.
Yeah, that's
right?
that's
So
a
it
good
doesn't
one,
have to
actually.
be, it's not necessarily confrontational na, ang sabi mo? Like, you know, like, you know what I mean? It could be like, I'm sorry, like, what did you just say? And then
Yeah.
he'll be like, oh, if that wasn't his intention, he could be like, oh, actually, wait, it came off wrong. Or, or if he's sleazy talaga,
Mahiya siya.
mahiya siya. Pero meron ding hindi eh.
Yeah, I know.
Diba?
Well, yung
Pag
mga
ganon,
ganon, it's good to embarrass them at that point. Like,
pag
diba,
hindi mo pa gets.
makapal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ay, nako.
Oh my
Alam mo,
gosh.
Nick, don't worry. You're not gonna encounter that anytime soon because you don't go out naman.
Eto na
Hanggang
nga.
DMs ka na lang.
Ay, girl, isa pa yun. Ayoko na nga. Honestly, wag na lang. Hindi, try natin. Okay, so sa gym, I'll just be like, pero I need to see muna kung gaano kabigat yung buhat niya kasi baka di ko kaya.
No, first what you do is when you walk in, catch the eye contact nga when you're walking. And then if you're wearing those zip up bras, like that. Parang, may ganon pa yung small
Wala
details
akong
like that,
ganon.
Nick.
Bibili pa ako ng ganon. Iba yan.
Go online, find one na yung may zipper para part of, and practice in front of the mirror. Baka naman weird yung
Baka mahubaran pa ako.
Sure na, papatok.
Actually, yun pala. Actually, ito na lang. Hubarin mo na. Ganito ba yan? Oh my God, I could never. I didn't realize how long this episode has been, but this is literally how we are when we're together. I'm so happy that you were able to hop on. I really appreciate it. As I mentioned kanina, you already have so much on your plate, so I really appreciate that you were able to take this time out. Is there anything you want to promote before you go off?
You guys can find us on Spotify, the Sexytime Podcast, and you can follow us on Instagram at the Sexytime Podcast. And just in case you're curious to know a little bit more about tools for sexual wellness and exploring your body and sexuality, you guys can check out www.itsjellytime.com. We sell all natural water-based personal lubricant, and you don't need to be 60 years old and above to use it. I'm telling you, as long as you're active, or if you're not, you can use our products. You can also try out our pleasure toys. Now, I know Nicole's uncomfortable with us sharing about this, but I love getting her uncomfortable.
I'm just quiet here nodding like, that one, yes, okay.
Thanks so much, Nick. I love you.
Thanks, Ava. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so happy that we're able to have this. And guys, if you guys like this episode, let us know if you guys have any other questions. Maybe we could get another episode with like, I don't know if it's even possible to get you, Jess, and whatever.
Yeah, it's so fun. Let's do that.
That would be fun.
Let's do our walking crew. Just tell them where they can find you.
Can
and
you
share
do it
share
for me? I'll copy you.
Guys, if you have other friends like Nicole who are just trying to navigate through life, making kulit every single friend, give them advice on how to get an ATM card, you guys should listen to this podcast because it's going to be really helpful, and send it to a friend.
Please do send it to a friend. It would mean a lot. Let's grow this community and share it together.
Bye, Nick. I love you. Bye.
Bye. Love you. There you guys have it. That definitely has to be one of my favorite episodes. It's always so fun when you have friends on here. And if you guys like the episode, don't forget to share it with a friend. It would really mean a lot. Or if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can DM us at Solo Flight Podcast on Instagram. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.